Here's your drink, Nancy. Ah, but I shan't give it you unless you promise me just one more dance. When they've finished the hornpipe.
Then I'll have to ask someone else to bring me a drink. I really must dance with Dr. Kimball. I did promise him. And besides, I can't dance every dance with you.
And why not? What could be more... Oh, great heavens.
Godfrey, are you quite well? What is the matter?
The child. What is the child doing here?
What child?
Excuse me, Nancy. Master Marner. What are you doing with that child?
The doctor. I've come for the doctor. Is he here?
Look here, Marner. This is a private party. Why are you bothering the doctor? Can't he wait, man?
Is the child ill?
No, I don't believe so. I want the doctor for the child's mother.
The child's mother?
She's dead. Or so I fear.
Dead? Where?
Lying in the snow, up by the stone pits near my house.
What's the matter? Is someone ill?
Ah, Nancy, fetch Dr. Kimball, will you? Some poor woman is ill from the cold, I shouldn't wonder. Nothing to worry about.
Of course, Mr. Cass. Whose is the baby, Godfrey, do you know?
What? Why do you ask me? Some poor woman's who's been found out in the snow, I believe.
The poor creature. Dr. Kimball? Has anybody seen Dr. Kimball?
Master Marner? Oh, they said you were here. Oh, and with a dear little baby. Hello, sweetheart. Here, I'll look after it.
No, Mrs. Winthrop, no. Oh. I can't part with her. She's come to me and I have a right to keep her.
Oh, fair enough, then.
Well, here I am. Now, Marner, what's all this fuss about?
She's outside my cottage. You know where it is, Doctor, out by the stone pits.
I'll drive you both over there in the carriage.
Oh, well, that's very good of you, Godfrey. In the middle of your party?
No, not at all. It's the least I can do.
Yes, the woman's dead. Been dead for several hours, I would guess.
Do you know who she was, Dr. Kimball?
No one local. I know all the faces hereabouts. Striking black hair, you'd certainly remember her. But what brought a stranger here on such a night? Very emaciated. Probably from taking laudanum.
Laudanum?
Devilish stuff. She must have been a pretty girl once. Poor creature was dressed in rags, too. Oh, well, Marner, they'll fetch her body away in the morning. You don't mind it in your workroom till then? I've covered her over with a sheet.
No, that's all right, Dr. Kimball. And the little girl?
Oh, she seems well. Fast asleep now.
Well, I'll drive you back, sir.
Right.
May I just see the woman's face again?
Oh, why on earth you...
Well, the thing is, I fancy I saw a black-haired woman in the village yesterday. So I was wondering if... Oh.
Have you seen her before?
No. No, I'm not used to seeing the dead. And to think of her dying all alone in the street like that. No. This is not the woman I saw. Well, Marner, are you all right? You'll take the child to the parish tomorrow, I suppose?
No. Not unless they make me.
What, surely you don't mean to keep her, do you? An old bachelor like you?
I'll keep her until anybody comes with a right to take her away. Her mother's dead, and we don't know that she's got any father or other kin. She's a lone thing, and I'm a lone thing.
Yes, but that hardly
My money's
means...
gone, I don't know where. And she's come to me from I don't know where. So I'll keep her. Unless, of course, her father comes to claim her.
Well, she's a sweet little thing, to be sure. Let me give you a sovereign towards buying her some new clothes.
Why, thank you, Mr. Godfrey. Dr. Kimball, do you think it would be all right if I take the wedding ring off the poor mother's hand?
Well, why do you want it?
For the child, of course, when she's grown. It'll be something from her mother.
Oh, yeah, that seems fair enough. Well, come on, Godfrey. We'd better be getting back.
Of course. Goodbye, Master Marner.
You seem captivated by the child. She's certainly a very pretty little thing.
Isn't she? It's rather strange, though, that the old miser wants to keep her.
Sure. I think it's better for the child in the workhouse.
Indeed. And I suppose he won't mind if I give him a few pounds from time to time to help him out.
She has caught your heart, hasn't she? And all the time I thought it was Miss Nancy you were after.
Oh, but it is. It is. And if she's still there when we get back, I mean to have a word with Miss Nancy. I think it's going to be a very happy new year indeed.
It's kind of you to call round, Mrs. Winthrop.
Please call me Dolly. Everyone else does.
Very well, then. Dolly. See, here's the money Mr. Godfrey gave me to buy her clothes with.
Oh, very good of him, I'm sure. But there's no call to buy things new. Only perhaps a pair of shoes. For I've brought you all these clothes that my little Aaron has grown out of. You're welcome to them.
Are you sure?
Of course, there's no good spending money on clothes, for the child will grow like the grass in May, bless her. Oh, the angels in heaven couldn't be prettier. Oh, to think of her being covered with them dirty rags. And her poor mother froze to death. But there's them above as took care of her and brought her safe to your door, Master Marner.
To my door. And the door was open, and in she came.
So she did, though there's others say different. She may be a bit much for you while she's so little, but I can come in and help you see to her. Or if you'd like me to.
Thank you, kindly. I'd be glad if you'd tell me things, but I want to do things for her myself, or she may get fond of somebody else and not of me. I've been used to fending for myself in the house. I can learn.
To be sure you can. Some men are wonderful handy with children. But how will you manage when you're working at the loom? For she'll get busier and mischievousor every day, bless her.
I could tie her to the leg of the loom with a good long strip of ribbon or material so I can keep an eye on her.
Well, yes, that might do. Now, she's a girl. They're more biddable than boys. I've had 4 boys. If I tried to tie any of them up, they'd make a fighting and a crying as if he was bringing the pigs. But I'll bring over my little chair and some bits of material for her to play with. And she'll sit and talk to them for hours on end.
Oh, we'd like that, wouldn't we?
Oh, yes. When you're older, little one, I can teach you sewing and knitting and everything.
Indeed you can. But she'd still be my little girl, wouldn't she? She'd be nobody else's.
No, to be sure. You've got a right to her if you're a father to her. But mind you must bring her up Christian and take her to church and let her learn the Lord's Prayer. I don't suppose the poor thing has ever been christened. And it's only right that she should be.
What do you mean by christened?
Dear Master Marner. Did you never have father nor mothers taught you to say your prayers and that there's good words and good things to keep us from harm?
I know a deal about that. Well, I used to. Used to. But the ways here are different, see? My country is a good way off. Still, I want to do everything that should be done for the child. And whatever's right for her in these parts, I'll act according, if you'll tell me.
I'll speak to Mr. Macy about it. He's the parish clerk, so he'll fix it up with the vicar. But you must settle on a name for her because, of course, she gets a name when she's christened.
My mother's name was Hepzibah, and my little sister who died was named after her.
Oh. Hepzibah. That's a hard name to put your tongue round. I'm not even sure it's a proper christening name.
It's a Bible name.
Oh. Well then. Must be all right. Hepzibah. Even if it's in the Bible, it's a great long name for such a little lass. Did you always call your sister that, or was there a shorter way?
We called her Eppie.
Eppie. Oh, yes. That's nice, isn't it? And it's a good deal easier than Hepzibah, don't you think?
It was very good to see you inside our church at last, Master Marner.
Oh, well, Mr. Macy, course, I had to come for Eppie's christening.
Yes, and I hope to see you here again. I did have a word with the vicar on your behalf, but, says he, what if the child has already been christened? Ah, yes, says I. But what if it hasn't, eh? Surely it's safer to do it twice over than not at all, eh? And he had to agree with me that it was the most prudent course of action. So there you are.
Well, whatever is good for her, that's what I'll try to do.
I'm very glad to hear it.
Oh, dear little Eppie. And all through the service she was as good as gold.
As good as gold. Why, yes, she was. Even better, I'd say.
Indeed, eh? Well, there's a thing.
Well, yes, I only mean that, well, she's a treasure, that's all.
Yes, Master Marner. She certainly is.
Dad, look. See the pretty flutterbies.
The what? Oh, the butterflies. Yes, they're flying over the water. Your eyes are quicker than mine, Eppie. Here we are. Now we're past the old stone pits. You can walk from here. Hop down on the grass. Stay away from the water's edge, Eppie, and see how many daisies you can find me.
Daisy chain.
Oh, yes, of course. When you bring me some daisies, I'll make one.
Dad, what's that birdie?
Why, that's a cuckoo, Eppie. I don't know many of them by the song, but that one's easy, 'cause he goes, cuckoo. See? That's how he gets his name. Cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
My funny little cuckoo. That's what you are.
No, I'm Eppie.
Of course you are, Eppie. Daddy was only joking. See if you can find me some daisies now, and I'll gather these nettles to make us some tea. Strange how it's all coming back to me now. Which plants are good for medicine? Must be from being outdoors so much, I suppose. No! Don't you touch them or they'll sting you. Daddy knows how to pick them so he won't get hurt. No, Eppie.
Ow, bad flowers, they bit me.
You see, Eppie, I told you not to touch. The flowers aren't bad, but you were naughty to touch them when I said not to. Oh, well, you'll know another time.
Well, she's growing up so fast, Master Marner. 3 years old, she's bound to be a bit naughty sometimes. It's only natural.
Oh, it's not really naughty. It's just what you might call willful.
Of course, with just the two of you, and her always expecting to get her own way, it would be easy for Eppie to get spoilt.
Spoilt? Well, what should I do?
You worship the ground she walks on. I know that, and so does she. But even so, there will be times when you'll have to punish her.
Oh, no. I couldn't do that.
It's for Eppie's own good in the long run. Bringing up young uns without making them tingle a bit in soft places, it can't be done.
Oh, I could never smack her. Not Eppie.
My husband Ben has a certain hairbrush, and when the boys see him reaching for that, they know what's coming. Wallop.
Oh, no, Dolly, I just couldn't.
Well, there's something else you could try. If ever she vexes you and you need to teach her a lesson, then shut her up in the coal shed.
In the coal shed?
That was what I did with Aaron, for I was silly with the youngest lad and I could never smack him either. But I couldn't find it in my heart to make him stay in the coal shed longer than a minute. Still, that was long enough to give him a shock, get him all filthy with coal dust, and that was as good as the hairbrush to him.
Doesn't he like being dirty?
No, he doesn't mind that. He was having a bath afterwards, that's what he objected to.
Doesn't care for soap and water.
No, he does not. Allergic to it, you might say, is young Aaron. Well, most little boys are.
Eppie loves the bath, so that will be no punishment for her. But to shut the poor child in a dark coal shed, surely that's too harsh.
You'll have to do something, Master Marner. And if it's not the hairbrush, then it'll have to be the coal shed. Or else she could get so masterful that there'd be no holding her. In years to come, she'll lead you a pretty dance unless you take the time now to show her who's in charge.
Dad, daisy chain.
No, Eppie, we can't go out today.
Yeah.
Yes, I know the sun's shining, but I've got a big piece of work to set up at me loom. Must get it done by the end of the week.
Daisy chain.
No, not today, Eppie. Maybe tomorrow if I get on with this weaving. Now, come here while I put on your special belt. That's a girl. Oops, a daisy. With your arms. Good. And we make it nice and comfy. Now, 1 yard, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See? And we tie the other end to my loom so you don't wander off too far. Good. Now you can play with your little things from Auntie Dolly.
Dolly toys.
That's it. Now we'll just cut out these guide twines and there you are.
Dad, nish, nish.
What's that you saying, Eppie?
Nish, nish.
Oh, it's the scissors. Yeah, they make a funny sound, don't they, when I cut the twine?
Scissors.
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 You must never touch the scissors, Eppie.
Okay.
Only for Daddy. They're very sharp.
Sharp.
Ow! Yeah, they might hurt you if you touch them. See? Look how they cut through the linen.
Oh.
They might cut off your fingers. Just like that.
Nish, nish.
Now you play with your dolly toys, Eppie, for I must get on with this tablecloth. Miss Nancy Lammeter has ordered it special, and if it's not ready by the weekend, I don't know what she'll say. Well, now, this is always a tricky bit. Setting out the guide twine. Stretch out the twine from here to here, and then tie it off as tight as it'll go.
Daisy chain.
Loop. Stretch it out from here to here. Oh, bother. It's twisted round. That's better. And tie it off tight. Good. That's coming along well. You never know. We may even be able to go out making daisy chains tomorrow. Now, where did I put my scissors? What? Eppie? Where are you? Eppie? Eppie? Are you somewhere in the house, me darling? Don't be frightened. I won't scold you for picking up the scissors. Eppie? Oh, and the door's wide open. Oh, gracious heavens. Let her not have gone down to the stone pits. Eppie! 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 Where are you, Miss Sweetie? Come to Dad! Eppie! Can you hear me?
Dad.
Eppie! Stand still! Don't move! You're right by the edge of the water, my love. And it's so very deep.
Daisy chain.
No. Don't move till Daddy can get to you, Eppie. That's a good girl. Stand absolutely still. Good. Dad. I got you. Oh, Eppie. What did you mean going off like that? You worried your poor old Daddy half to death, I'll tell you.
Dad, daisy chain.
Oh, come on. Let's get back to the house and clean off all this mud.
I think this is the part of our land which I most love. This dear old meadow. We've never farmed it, and we never will if I have any say in the matter. It's just a place for wild flowers to grow and for the birds to sing. And it's where we go a-walking.
It is a lovely, quiet place, Godfrey.
Nancy, you know that I care for you very deeply. I wonder if you can imagine a time when this old hedge between the Cass estate and the Lammeter farm is cut down. If you can think of a time when you'd feel able to accept me as your husband.
But Godfrey... Godfrey, please.
Could you ever do me the honour, Nancy, of becoming my wife?
Godfrey, are you quite sure that you're free to ask me that?
Free? What do you mean?
You were telling me at the party that you had many distractions which were heavy on your mind.
Oh, that. Of course.
I think you were a great deal troubled about your brother.
And so I was, but since he left my poor horse dead in a ditch, there's been no word from him. Perhaps he's heard somehow that Father won't have him back in the house.
He's been gone a long time.
Father reckons that Dunsey's gone off to be a soldier. That would suit him, I think, in a way, or perhaps he's gone abroad. Anyway, I'm a great deal less troubled about him than I was. Indeed, I'm less troubled about everything. Except, of course, you.
Oh, I trouble you, do I? Well, perhaps the trouble won't be too much to bear. If you're quite sure that all these other distractions are out of the way.
I'm perfectly certain of it, Nancy. And I guarantee you my undivided attention from now on. Until death do us part.
Then I'm prepared to consider your proposals very carefully, Mr. Cass. I wonder if you'll just go through the details once more. You began, as I recollect, with a suggestion about cutting down this hedge.
Naughty, naughty, Eppie. It was very naughty to cut with the scissors and run away. You could have got lost in the stone pits. Oh, look, you're muddy all over. I must wash you. But first, Eppie, you must go into the coal shed for being naughty. Daddy must put Eppie in the coal shed.
Eppie in the coal shed.
Yes, we'll go right away. Now, you must stay in the coal shed because you were naughty. I'm going to shut the door and you can't come out.
Dad.
Yes, I'm here, Eppie. But you must stay inside for a bit so you'll learn not to be naughty again.
It's dark in here.
Is it, my little one? Well, just stay in a moment more so you learn to be good.
Eppie in the coal shed.
Yes, my dear one, because you picked up the scissors when Daddy said no. Oh. Now, you'll never be naughty again, will you, Eppie? Or you must go back in the coal shed. A dark, naughty place. Come on, then, and we'll get you all nice and clean. Hey, upsy-daisy. There we are. Nice clean clothes for a good clean girlie. Up down for a minute.
Eppie in the coal shed.
Yes, you had to go in the coal shed so you'd learn to be good. But now you're going to be a good girl, aren't you? Yes. Well, I don't think I can do any more work today. I know. Let's both have a glass of milk, shall we, Eppie? Eppie? Where have you got to now?
Dad, Eppie in the coal shed.
What? Oh, no, Eppie. You haven't gone and got back in there, have you? Just when we got you all nice and clean.
Eppie in the coal shed.
Oh, Eppie. Eppie. What on earth am I going to do with you?
Thank you, Vicar.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Dilber, and my very best wishes to your sister. Ah, good day, Master Marner.
And to you, Vicar. I enjoyed the service this morning.
Well, thank you. Are you waiting for your lovely daughter, as usual?
Yes, Eppie's chatting away with some of the other young'uns. Always takes her an age to come out of church on a Sunday morning.
What do they find to talk about? She's grown up to be a fine girl, Master Marner. A real credit to you.
To her godmother. Dolly Winthrop has been such a help and such a good friend to us both.
Marvellous woman.
And Mr. Godfrey, of course. So many people have helped us here in Ravenlow.
Well, it was only right, Master Marner, that those who could afford the time should have helped you when you were bringing up an orphan child and having to be both father and mother to her. I know for a fact, since the old squire died, Mr. and Mrs. Cass have taken a special interest in your Eppie. She's often been asked up to Red House for Sunday tea, hasn't she? That's quite an honour, you know, even for me.
They've been very kind to her, to both of us.
She truly is a beauty, Marner. I suppose you know that. What is she, 17 now?
No, 18. Well, as close as we can tell.
18 years old, eh? You'll be fighting off the boys before long.
Oh, I needn't worry about that. Dolly's son Aaron would knock down any chap who dared so much as to look at her. He's always been very protective. It's better than a guard dog. Well, if you'll excuse me, Vicar, I'll try and fetch her home, or our dinner will be burnt to a crisp.
Will you have some more tea?
I'll pour it, Dolly.
No, you stay put. I'll pour it out.
The young'uns are a long time planning Eppie's garden.
They've gone for a walk over to the stone pits. Master Marner, I've been thinking about the people at your old chapel you were telling me about. It bothers me how they could have turned you out for a common thief. And though I don't rightly catch the meaning of everything I hear at church, only a bit here and there, so I've been wondering how it is that them above who watch over us could let it happen.
That was what fell on me, as if it had been red-hot iron. It seemed that there was nobody who cared for me or stood for me, above or below, and mine own familiar friend in whom I trusted had lifted up his heel against me and worked to ruin me.
Oh, he was a bad one and no mistake. But you see, I've been thinking and I feel that, well, it was somehow all right what happened to you.
What do you mean?
Oh, goodness. Whether I've got it straight in my mind or can put it into words, we'll have to see. For I've often thought good thoughts inside me, but I can't make them come out.
Oh, I'm used to the way you talk. I can usually get the sense of what you're saying. And you do tend to talk good sense.
Oh, well then, what came to me was this. Surely, I thought, them above us who love us and work for our good have got it all in hand somehow. So when things seem bad or wrong, maybe it's only because something's going on that we don't know. You see, whether they at your old chapel were meaning well or ill by you, them above us who watch over us could weave it into the pattern, if you like, and make it come right in the end somehow.
Weaving a pattern, you say?
Oh, that's all I can ever be sure of. And everything else is a big puzzle to me when I think on it. For so many bad things happen. Illnesses and such. Things we can never make out, like what happened to you. But what we have to do is trust somehow that all will be well. That's what I think.
Trust that all will be well. There are times when that's powerful hard to trust.
Oh, it's easier said than done, I know. And I'm almost ashamed to say such things to you after what you've been through.
No, Dolly, you're right. There is good in this world, I know it now. And it makes me feel that there's more good in it than we can ever know, in spite of all the troubles and wickedness. Being sent away from my old home, that was dark. But then, if I hadn't come to Ravenlow, I wouldn't have been here when little Eppie was in need.
Oh, you're going out again?
I must keep an eye on the draining of the pits. Soon we'll be able to get a dairy herd onto the land. Perhaps that will help to occupy your thoughts. There's always plenty to do with the dairying, new diversions and so forth.
I don't look for diversions.
I'm quite content as we are, Godfrey.
Yes, but I know you've been feeling low and...
Only because of our disagreement. I do so hate it when we argue.
Then I won't say another word about it, if it upsets you.
Surely, for some reason that we may never know, we are better without children. If a thing is not meant to be, then it must be our duty to leave off wanting it.
But what if we're not better off? What if we should have had children?
Godfrey, our own little baby, died. Surely to adopt a child when children of our own have been denied us is to go against Providence.
What? You might as well say that your father shouldn't wear spectacles to see. Isn't that going against Providence too?
That's quite different. Besides, she's so happy with the old weaver. Why should we take her away from him? It could only end in sorrow.
Eppie has blossomed out with Marner, and he adopted her. Why should she not blossom here with us? We have so much to give her.
But he didn't go to seek her, as we should be doing. She came to him, was sent to him, or so he believes. Oh, Godfrey, please don't ask me to do what I know in my heart of hearts is wrong.
In time, you may change your mind.
But why can you not accept the way things are? We have so much to be grateful for. Try to be content with all we have together, Godfrey.
Oh, this is a heavy rock. I can't seem to shift it.
Oh, let's have a little rest, shall we? Oh, go and sit down with me for a minute.
Oh, that's nice, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's very peaceful here.
Father, if I was ever to be married, ought I to be married with my mother's ring?
Why, Eppie, what made you think of that?
Well, seeing the dear old furze bush. And besides, I've been thinking about it a good deal lately. Well, Aaron's been talking about it.
What did he say?
Well, he said he'd like to be married. Well, because he's nearly 23 and he has a deal of gardening work. He goes regular to Mr. Cass at Red House, and now they're going to take him on at the rectory, too.
I see. And who is it that Aaron's wanting to marry?
Why, me, of course, Daddy. As if he'd want to marry anybody else.
Indeed, indeed. But, Eppie, do you want to marry?
Yes, sometime. Well, I don't know when. Everybody's married sometime, Aaron says, but I told him that wasn't true, for I said, look at Father, he's never been married.
Indeed, child. Your father was a lone man, till you were sent to him.
Well, you'll never be alone again, Father. Well, that was what Aaron said. I could never think of taking you away from Master Marner, Eppie. So I said, it'd be no use if you did, Aaron, because I wouldn't leave him. But Aaron wants us all to live together, so you wouldn't have to work so hard anymore. Only what's for your own pleasure.
But is that what you want, Eppie?
I wouldn't mind it. I'd like it if you didn't have to work so much. But I'm so happy as we are. Of course, I'm glad Aaron is fond of me and he behaves well towards you. He does, doesn't he?
Yes, child. No one could behave better. He's his mother's son, and Dolly is my dearest friend.
I wish things didn't have to change. I should like to go on a long, long while, just as we are now. Only Aaron wants to marry, and he made me cry a bit. Or just a little bit, because he said I couldn't care for him.
What?
For if I really cared, I should want us to be married just as much as he does.
Oh, my child. But you're still very young to be married, that's all it is. We'll ask Dolly. After all, she is your godmother. If there's a right thing to do, she'll know. But there's this to be thought on, Eppie. Things will change. Things must change, whether we like it or no. Nothing goes on forever. I'm getting older and feebler, and I'll never want to be a burden on you.
No.
And not that you'd think me a burden. I know you wouldn't. But, well, when I think about the future, of course, I want you to have someone to take care of you.
Then, would you like me to be married, Father?
I'll not be the man to say no, Eppie. But we must talk to your godmother. She'll wish the right thing by you and her son too.
Nancy.
Godfrey, what is the matter?
Sit down, Nancy. I've had a very great shock. But I care most about the shock it'll be to you.
It isn't Father.
No, it's no one you care for. It's Dunstan. My brother, Dunstan, that we lost sight of 16 years ago. He's been found, or rather his body, his skeleton.
Your brother. My poor husband.
We've been draining the land, and the stone pits have gone dry. And there he lies. Has lain for 16 years, under the water, wedged between two great stones.
Do you think he drowned himself?
No, it seems he fell in. You see, there's worse to come. Dunstan was the man that robbed Silas Marner.
Dunstan? Are you sure?
There was the money in the pit beside him. All the weaver's gold and that grinning skeleton. Everything's been gathered up now, and they're taking what's left of Dunstan to the tavern. But I had to let you know.
Of course. Godfrey, it is a terrible shock indeed. But really and
Oh,
truly...
but there's more. Everything comes to light, Nancy, sooner or later. When God Almighty wills it, our secrets are found out. I've lived all these years with another secret on my mind. But I'll keep it from you no longer.
What is it?
Nancy, when I married you, I hid something from you. Something I ought to have told you. That poor woman who Marner found dead in the snow, Eppie's mother, that woman was my wife. Eppie is my child. I shouldn't have left the child unowned. I know that. But I couldn't bear to give you up, Nancy. And I only married that woman because Dunsey tricked me into it. Well, you needn't hear the whole tale now. But I suffered for it, believe me, Nancy.
You are Eppie's father? Godfrey, if you had only told me this before, we could have done some of our duty by the child. Do you think I'd have refused to adopt her if I'd known she was yours? And... oh, Godfrey, if we'd had her from the first, if you'd taken to her as you ought, she might have loved me for her mother, and you might have been happier with me. I could have borne my own little baby dying, and our life together would have been more like we thought it would be.
No. If I'd told you, then you wouldn't have married me, Nancy. You may think you would now, but you wouldn't. Not then.
I can't say what I would have done, Godfrey. I only know I would have never married anybody else. But I wasn't worth doing wrong for. Nothing is in this world.
Nancy, I'm a worse man than you thought I was. Can you forgive me? Ever?
The wrong to me is but little, Godfrey. It's another you did the wrong to. and I doubt it can ever be made up for.
Oh, but it can. We can take Eppie now.
Now? It will be different having her come to us now she's grown up. But it's your duty to acknowledge her and provide for her. And I'll do my part by her and pray to God Almighty to make her love me.
Then we'll go together to Silas Marner's this very night.
So, there it is. All your gold that was lost.
I used to count it every night, Eppie. My golden guineas. And yet my soul was desolate till you were sent to me.
Oh, Father.
It's a mercy the money was taken away from me. And you see, it's been kept safe. Kept till it was needed for you, now that you're getting married. Oh, it's wonderful. Strange, but it takes no hold of me now, seeing the golden guineas.
Oh, I'll get it, Father. Hello? Oh.
We're disturbing you very late, my dear.
Oh, no, that's all right. We're still up. Please come in. Won't you sit down?
Thank you, Eppie.
Good evening, Mrs. Cass. Mr. Cass.
Well, Marner, it's a great comfort to me that your money has been restored to you again. It was one of my family did you the wrong, so whatever I can do for you will be nothing but paying a debt, even if I looked no further than the robbery. But there are other things I'm beholden... shall be beholden to you for, Marner.
Oh, sir, I've a good deal to thank you for already. As for the robbery, why, I've come to realise it was no loss to me. But anyway, you aren't answerable for it.
I hope you'll let me act according to my own feeling of what's just. I know you've been a hard-working man all your life.
Yes, sir, yes. My work kept me going when everything else was taken away from me.
But surely it's time you took things a little easier. And that gold is not so very great a sum.
Oh, Eppie and me will do well enough. There's not many working folks have got so much laid by as this.
But I want to make amends to you, Marner. But there must be things you want for yourself or for Eppie. Aren't there, eh, my girl?
No, sir. Nothing, now that I've got my garden. Thank you kindly.
Ah, you love a garden too, do you, my dear? I spend a great deal of time in my garden.
Yes, there's plenty of gardening up at Red House. You've done well by Eppie, Marner, these 16 years. You'd like to see her well provided for, wouldn't you? By those who can leave her well off and make a lady of her.
I don't take your meaning, sir.
Well, my meaning is this, Marner. As you know, Mrs. Cass and I have no children. No one to benefit from our good home. And we should like to have somebody in the place of a daughter to us. We should like to have Eppie. We'd treat her in every way as our own child. It'd be a great comfort to you in your old age, I hope, to see her fortune made in that way, after you've taken the trouble of bringing her up so well. And Eppie, I'm sure, would always love you and be grateful to you. She'd come and see you very often and... well, what do you say?
Eppie, my child, speak. I won't stand in your way. Thank Mr. and Mrs. Cass.
Thank you, Mum. Thank you, sir. But I can't leave my father, and I don't want to be a lady. Thank you all the same. I couldn't give up the folks I've been used to.
Oh, my dear girl. Of course, I understand your feelings. But my husband has something to tell you.
You see, I've a claim on you, Eppie. The strongest of all claims. It's not just my wish, Marner. It's my duty to adopt Eppie and provide for her. For you see, she is my own child. The woman you found all those years ago, her mother, was my wife.
Father?
Eppie? Your daughter? Why didn't you say so 16 years ago? Why, sir, didn't you claim her then? Before I come to love her? Instead of coming to take her from me now, when you might as well take the heart out of my body. It seems to me that God gave her to me because you turned your back upon her. So you've no right to her. When a man turns a blessing away from his door, then it falls to another.
Yes, I know that, Marner, only too well. I was wrong. I've repented of my conduct in that matter.
Indeed, sir. That's all very well. But repentance doesn't alter what's been going on for 16 years. You coming here now and saying, I'm her father, doesn't alter the feelings inside us. It's me she's been calling her father, ever since she could say the word.
But I do think you might look at the whole thing more reasonably, Marner. I expected you to rejoice in something that's for Eppie's own good. You must remember that your own life's uncertain. Besides, the girl's at an age now when she may marry some low working man.
No.
You're putting your own feelings in the way of her welfare. I'm sorry, but I feel I must insist on taking care of my own daughter.
Then I'll say no more, Mr. Cassidy. But I pray, let the child speak her mind.
Of course, she must.
Yes. Eppie, my dear, naturally you will always feel love and gratitude to one who's been a father to you so many years. And we'll help you to make him comfortable in every way. And though I haven't been what a father should have been to you all these years, I'll do everything in my power for the rest of my life to provide for you as my only child. And you'll have the best of mothers in my wife.
My dear, you'd be a treasure to us.
Thank you, Mum. Thank you, sir, for your offers. They're very great and far above my wish. For I should have no delight in my life any more if I was forced to go away from my father and knew he was sitting here at home, thinking of me and all alone. We've been used to be happy together every day, and I can't think of no happiness without him. He's took care of me and loved me from the first, and I'll cleave to him as long as he lives, and nobody shall ever come between him and me.
But Eppie...
What you say is natural, my dear child. It's natural you should cling to those who've brought you up. But there's a duty you owe to your lawful father. When your real father opens his home to you, you shouldn't turn your back on it.
I can't feel as I've got any real father but one. And I wasn't brought up to be a lady. I like the working people and their ways, and I'm already promised to marry a working man who'll come and live with us here and help me take care of father. Aaron Winthrop.
Nancy, let us go.
Yes, of course. We won't talk of this any longer now. We only wish you well, my dear. And you too, Mr. Marner. Please, don't trouble to see us out. Good night.
Oh, Eppie. Think what they're offering you. Are you sure of what you've said?
My dear old daddy. Can you see me leaving you for them? Whatever Mr. Cass might say, I am your daughter, and I'm proud to be.
My precious golden girl.
No, Nancy. While I've been putting off and putting off, the trees have been growing. Well, I wanted to pass for childless then, so I must pass for childless now.
You won't make it known to others, then, about Eppie being your daughter?
No. What good could it do anyone? We must simply do what we can for her. in little ways. She's a very pretty, nice girl, isn't she, Nancy?
Yes, dear, she is. And with just your hair and eyes. How strange that it never struck me before. Oh, I'm sorry, Godfrey.
Yes. I have you, Nancy, in spite of all. The most precious of wives.
We have each other. And that's more than enough for me. My one sadness would be gone if only you were content.
Then perhaps it isn't too late to mend a bit there. Even though it is too late to mend some things.
So, Mr. Godfrey Cass is paying for the wedding, is he?
Well, it's only proper, seeing it was one of the Cass family who did such a wrong to the weaver.
Yeah, that scoundrel Dunstan stole away his gold.
Ah, yes, Mr. Snell, but it was a blessing in disguise. I told him so at the time, and I've seen my words come true. Marner brought the blessing on himself by being a father to a lone and motherless child.
But you used to say he was strange, Mr. Mason. You used to say...
Well, it may be I misjudged him at first on account of his peculiar ways and, them eyes of his. But wasn't I the first to say there was no real harm in him once I got to know him? And so, gentlemen, I hope you'll join me in drinking a health to Silas Marner.
To Silas Marner. Good.
And to Eppie and Aaron on their wedding day.
Oh,
may they know every happiness.
Aye.
And wasn't it just the perfect day for a wedding? With the lilac and laburnum and the sun shining its heart out. Oh, I don't know why I'm crying, dear. Don't mind me. Oh, look at you, Eppie. The most beautiful bride I've ever seen.
So she is.
Daddy, you know that you haven't given me away, really. You're only taking Aaron to be a son to you.
Yes, my dearest. And my dear son.
Thank you, Master Marner.
And are you happy, my little one?
Oh, Father, I don't think anyone could be happier than we are.
George Eliot had much to say about humanity in her novels. Her characterizations of the wealthy and the rejected speak to issues that mankind has dealt with through the ages. She's quoted as saying, "Our deeds determine us as much as we determine our deeds." And the strongest principle of growth lies in the human choice. But perhaps her most poignant words concern the theme found in Silas Marner. Blessed is the influence of one true, loving human soul on another. Silas Marner, by George Eliot, was dramatized and directed by Philip Glassborough. Sound design and mix was by Todd Bastide, and music was composed and orchestrated by Jared DePasquale. Our cast included Michael Williams as Silas Marner, Alex Jennings as Godfrey Cass, Finty Williams as Eppie, Kathy Sarah as Nancy Lammeter, Jenny Agater as Dolly Winthrop, and Edward Woodward as Squire Cass. Also starring were Howard Atfield, Evangeline Banks, Anthony Bate, Timothy Bateson, Justin Butcher, Tenya Levins, Joe Gunn, Peter Morton, Christopher Naylor, Nancy Nevinson, Audrey Palmer, Kennedy Pierman, Yuri Sarossi, Philip Sherlock, Richard Sims, Eleanor Tremaine, and Robert Young. And I'm Dave Arnold, your producer and host for Focus on the Family Radio Theater. Thanks for listening.